Hi, I'm Chuck Chvala, former Senate Majority Leader.
And I'm Scott Jensen, former Assembly Speaker.
We're the Insiders, and today we're talking about the audit that the Republicans seem destined to do against the Wisconsin Election Commission. Scott, what's up there? What's going on?
Well, I think a lot of Republican legislators and a lot of Republican voters were frustrated in the last election that the Wisconsin Elections Commission didn't follow the law in some cases, didn't follow judges' orders in some cases. And so the Republican legislature has decided to ask for a nonpartisan independent audit by the highly respected Legislative Audit Bureau of how the Elections Commission ran the elections here in Wisconsin. I'm hoping that because they're taking that route with the respected nonpartisan Legislative Audit Bureau that we can keep this in sort of nonpartisan territory. But of course, I'm not sure that will last very long. Hopefully, the Audit Bureau will come back with a series of recommendations on ways in which we can improve elections in Wisconsin. And then hopefully we can have a greater trust on both sides of the aisle about the way elections are conducted as we head into 2022. I'm hoping that's the way it is, but I'm afraid it's going to descend into partisanship pretty quick.
Well, the problem is that this is all part of the Republican strategy to have fewer people vote. They realize that by and large across the country, they cannot win a fair election if everyone who wants to vote gets a chance to vote. There is no election fraud. I mean, I only know of 3 cases, 1 by a Democrat and 2 by Republicans, and that's over the course of many elections in Wisconsin. That's really weird. So what's going on here? The whole thing with this structure is to try to make sure that somehow they can make the Wisconsin Election Commission make it harder to vote. There's a real simple answer to any of this stuff about Wisconsin law. Just make Wisconsin law clear that everybody gets to vote. You don't have to have voter ID because there is no voter fraud. Republicans start from this premise that there's this voter fraud we have to be worried about. No, it doesn't happen. It's been proven repeatedly that it doesn't happen, but they still want to deal with it because it will mean fewer people will be able to vote. That's why Scott Walker put the place for the Department of Transportation out away from even a bus station out on the west side, so that it would be hard for people who rent to be able to go and get their opportunity to vote. It's a dirty little secret of Republicans, which has become uglier this year when a presidential candidate decided to use it to create what was arguably an insurrection at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. Don't be fooled by the shiny object in the corner. This is all about suppressing the vote. Don't let it happen, folks. It's a distraction. It's a side gig.
I trust the Legislative Audit Bureau to try their best to stay out of politics and just to look at the facts, see how the Election Commission ran the elections and whether or not there are ways they can improve it going forward. And there were questions about, they defied a judge's order multiple times. That's a strange thing for a state agency to be doing. It's a bipartisan state agency, by the way, which is interesting. So I just think there's some questions that need to be answered. Answering those questions probably raises people's confidence level in the elections. And I think we'd all like to have greater confidence in the elections in 2022, so we don't go through the sort of stuff that we had this time with all the accusations, the wild theories, and some real stuff that was of concern. So I'm hoping that this helps.
There weren't any people who were entitled to vote, who were not entitled to vote, who voted and changed this election. That's the bottom line everybody has to remember. Our votes in Wisconsin and across the country are sacred. They are not being violated, and no amount of hand waving should change your resolve to that. That's what this country is about, democracy, folks.
I bet this audit takes a little longer than usual. We'll see. All right.
See you next time.